It is the Nations League opener here in the capital city of Guatemala tonight, where Guatemala and Martinique lock horns in League A. A beautiful night for football here at the Estadio Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores. This is Sam Goldfarb saying welcome from the capital city of Guatemala. A pair of teams that have been in League A for a number of years at this point. Martinique, mainstays of the top flight of Nations League football. On the other side of things, Guatemala entering their second consecutive Nations League campaign in League A. There's your look at the forecast. 70 degrees, a little rainy tonight in Guatemala City. It should make for an interesting fixture as you get your look at Group A. Suriname winning their opening fixture. Martinique and Guatemala playing the first of 4 matches for these two sides tonight. Costa Rica right now is leading 2-0 in their fixture, so they may head top of the group depending on what transpires in the remainder of their match. Well, for Guatemala last year in the Nations League, they stayed up in League A by the skin of their teeth in the 2023-24 campaign, escaped by a mere point under Luis Fernando Tena. Martinique, meanwhile, 2 points away from their first ever quarterfinal appearance in this competition. It makes for an interesting juxtaposition of sides in the Guatemalan capital tonight. A fortress here, 26,000 strong in Guatemala tonight. They call it Castelo del Concreto, which literally translates to concrete castle. Built in the 1940s, it makes for a fantastic atmosphere and should be a lovely fixture tonight. For Guatemala, the story coming in is how they build on the momentum from the draw against Uruguay on Sunday. Pedro Alton bagging the equalizer in that fixture. Can they carry it over now to a match in which they are well and truly favored? On the other side, Martinique is playing its first competitive fixture since its last Nations League clash. Coming in late October of last year, a French island nation that is not eligible to qualify for the World Cup. So these competitions, the Gold Cup and this one, probably 2 of the biggest fixtures on their docket all year long. It's a team that goes through regular transition. They've started to usher in a new bevy of talent from mainland France to factor into their side. A lot of players coming into the fold around the early 2020s starting to make their mark here for Martinique. While the players heading out onto the pitch, Rubio Rubin at the back end of the side for Guatemala. A striker with MLS experience, and the captain, Jose Carlos Pinto, at 31 years of age, leading his side out for yet another Nations League competition. We will briefly step aside. When we return, we will get set with lineups and kickoff from Guatemala City. you back into the Estadio Nacional Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores. The capital city of Guatemala is the center stage for this Nations League fixture tonight. A Guatemala side in its second campaign in League A Martinique squad that has been the mainstays of League A throughout its tenure. Here's your look at the Guatemala 11, captained by Jose Carlos Pinto. The notable man re-entering the side, Ruben, listed as Rubio Mendez on your screen, a man with 3 years of MLS experience under his belt at Real Salt Lake. And then in behind him, Alejandro Galindo, making his 55th cap, the creative number 10 in behind. It's a dynamic Guatemala side with significant attacking talent. The referees tonight, presiding over it, is Jose Torres, Ruben Perez, Pedro Figueroa, and Ismael Cornejo. The fourth official tonight are the remainder of the crew. The two captains, Brighton LeBeau and Jose Carlos Pinto, will swap pleasantries here at the center line in Guatemala City. The Martinique 11, a few changes from the last friendly. Marc Collat, since 2021, has been the manager. Brighton LeBeau is the talisman up front, the 28-year-old who currently makes his trade in Ligue 2. And then Yanis Clementia, the goalkeeper, making his 15th cap tonight. It's a Martinique side that has undergone tremendous turnover since the early in 2000s and 2010s. There's been a new generation of players flocking from mainland France that have entered the national team ranks of Martinique. And it has made for a new guard of players for this Martiniquois national team. We are just about set to get underway. Yanis Clementia, the 27-year-old between the sticks, making his trade in Ligue 2 with Cannes. Luis Fernando Tena gives final instructions from the touchline to Los Chapines of Guatemala. Well, Guatemala, a side that no doubt is favored tonight. They've got the home crowd behind them as they embark on one of the more difficult Nations League slates in 24-25. We've gotten the referee signal and underway from Guatemala City. Los Chapines and Le Matinino locking horns for the first time in Nations League history. We say hello and thank you for joining us. Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action from Estadio Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores. A venue named after Doroteo Guamuch, the 1952 Boston Marathon winner, just 4 years after the stadium was built. It is known for its raucous environment in Central America. Galindo picking this up and was looking long for Rubio Ruben. Ultimately falls pleasantly to Yanis Clementia. And born in Fort-de-France, the capital city of Martinique. It is a very interesting juxtaposition between these two sides. Guatemala, a team with a more established history, a Gold Cup from the 1960s in its cabinet, as you get another look at this chance that goes begging. And a team that has been, on occasion, close to the playoff round in qualifying for the World Cup. On the other side, it's a Martinique side that is ineligible for World Cup competition, but has been parked in League A after winning its first 4 Nations League qualifiers in 2018 and 2019. And they've managed to stay up with each passing campaign. Guatemala had to achieve successive promotions to get to League A. Here's the long ball to Fabian, who cuts inside, was looking for Brighton LeBeau, and stabbed away into the path of Elmer Cardoza, making his 10th cap as a Guatemalan national team player. There is Jose Morales, the mainstay at Municipal at left back. A Guatemalan team that unsurprisingly funnels a lot of its national team talent from the top tiers of the Liga Nacional in Guatemala. Martinique, they are pulling from a lot of lower leagues in France, although the Martinique Championnat National also is a beacon of talent. Surging forward, Ruben is free and taps it in the back of the net. Guatemala strikes inside 3 minutes. Ruben has Los Chapines off to a flyer. A dream start for Luis Fernando Tena's side. And Guatemala 1-0 in front. A rapid break. The cross comes in, and it's an excellent one from Oscar Santis. Ruben is onside, despite the appeals of the Martinique players, and opens Guatemala's Nations League account in 24-25. Unmarked, no chance for Clemencia, and Guatemala in front. A native of Beaverton, Oregon, who spent ample time at Real Salt Lake before recently being loaned out to Querétaro in Liga MX, but was once a young prodigy in the U.S. men's national team system. Named the best young player in 2012 and made 8 caps for the U.S. men's national team, but signed the one-time switch to Guatemala a few years back. And that was his 10th goal as a member of Los Chapines. Well, you'd have to figure that must ease some of the nerves. Guatemala entered tonight knowing this was a fixture it, for all intents and purposes, must win. It has one of the most difficult schedules in League A, and very little margin for error, as that ball is fielded by Balance. This is a team that must play Costa Rica twice in the group, which is an unenviable task considering they were on the fringes of getting that bye to the quarterfinals as being one of the top 4. Santis, another cross, this one stabbed away by Pulolo, and out for a Guatemala throw. There's your first look at Aaron Herrera. And he stands over the corner flag, expecting to take a corner here, the MLS man. Herrera and Cardoza in the vicinity. An outswinger, it falls for Morales, just floats it over the bar. Early pressure continuing to mount for Guatemala. Well, if you're just joining us, you've already missed Guatemala's opening goal. Ruben, the 28-year-old, scoring his 10th international goal for Guatemala. A rapid start here at Estadio Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores. Fabian toward the byline, and out of play for Martinique's first corner of the night. It is Samuel Renel, the 22-year-old, who stands over it. An outswinger. Charged away. And into the path of Santis, only as far as Pulolo, who just drags it wide. Martinique keeping Guatemala on their toes, though. It's a ball with an outswing, doesn't cause much danger, but ultimately cleared unconvincingly. And Balance, well, he wasn't far off. Now over the top towards Patrick Berner, a man with 5 seasons of Liga experience under his belt. Was once a target of a myriad of English Premier League clubs. Fabien would have been hoping for a better spin off his boots. It has not been an ideal start for the Martinique coaching staff. Team already in a hostile environment, a side that has not won a single road match in its 3 previous Nations League campaigns, but has managed to stay up by the skin of its teeth in the first 2. Last year, far more success with a pair of 1-0 home victories. Meanwhile, Luis Fernando Tena, someone who has engineered a complete transformation for Guatemala in his 3 years at the helm. Santis surging ahead. Cross that narrowly evades the oncoming traffic in the box. Franco toward the back post. Finally charged out of danger by Mutache. And falls to Lebeau. A crunching challenge. Herrera. Slithering. Cuts it back! An excellent stop from Clemencia. The pressure continuing to mount for Guatemala. And Ruben nearly found himself at the double. Rapid down the right flank have Guatemala been. Ruben does well to outwit his defender. And Clemencia may have saw it late. He did just enough to get a pair of paws to it. A second corner of the night for Los Chapines. With in-swing. And Clemencia claims. Well, there is your look at the main man. Was the mainstay for Martinique in the 2023 Gold Cup. And also kept 3 consecutive clean sheets to round out their Nations League campaign a year ago. Someone who has been on the fringes of Ligue 1 for a number of years, although has made his trade in Ligue 2, the 2nd tier in France. Playing currently with Cannes in that league. Just see Martinique unable to get out of the gates just yet. Found themselves drilled with a haymaker 3 minutes in and haven't properly recovered just yet. Marc Collas' side has been known for punching above its weight on the regional stage, but finds itself well and truly on the back foot here. Do so. And this is Fabien. Linking well with Lebeau, although shrugged off it. And the challenge overzealous from Alejandro Franco. It is Elmer Cardoza receiving the talking to from Jose Torres. It's an ambitious tackle. Studs up. Did get the ball, but Jonathan Franco caught him on the follow-through. It is Samuel Ranel to take this set piece for Martinique. Flicked along, and no trouble in the end for the man between the sticks, Nicholas Hagen. Well, there is the Columbus crewman. Had a lot of success recently with the crew. Started the Leagues Cup final, made 3 saves and kept a clean sheet in that victory over LAFC on August 25th. He's primarily been the backup for Columbus, though. For Guatemala, has been a mainstay for the better part of the last 5 years. His 44th cap tonight. Someone who previously was making his trade with Comunicaciones. Fabian, a heavy touch, runs it out of play. Well, he became a star with Comunicaciones in Liga Nacional, the top flight in Guatemala. Also had stints in Azerbaijan and Norway before he ultimately wound up signing with the crew this offseason. It's made for quite the goalkeeping competition, to say the least. And now trusted to play in big finals as well. Quarter of an hour gone here from Guatemala City. Martinique still trying to get on track here. Trailed with an early goal and are just starting to settle down since. They're beginning to rack up the set pieces, though. Fabian and Balance standing over it. Fabian taking it short. And a loose ball finds its way to Morales. Herrera. Numbers for Guatemala on the counter. Played low and just beyond the reach of Oscar Santis for a Guatemala corner. It's fair to say this is a more than bright start for Los Chapines. The counterattacks have been lightning quick. Herrera stands over this. A man who's made his trade the last 6 years in MLS. An outswinger. Flicked along, it's loose still, and finally stabbed away at the 3rd time of asking. That has been a man that has been peppered tonight already. Herrera. Well, if you're just joining us on Paramount Plus, we thank you for tuning in tonight. Guatemala and Martinique in the First Nations League fixture of 2024-25 for both these teams. Here in League A, a 6-team group in Group A. The top 2 earn safe passage to the quarterfinals, which is ultimately the goal for both these teams. Neither have secured safe progression that far in the competition. The bottom 2 in the group are relegated to League B, and the middle 2 remain put. Both these teams occupied the 3rd and 4th spots a year ago. For Martinique, side that won both its home matches but was throttled away from home, and as such, never properly had a shot to reach the quarterfinals, finished 2 points off the top 2. Guatemala, it was the bright start to Nations League play, and then things unraveled quickly. Fabian crosses it. It was near the dome of Brighton LeBeau, and he may have just skimmed it wide. Here's the ball forward. Santis rolling it wide. Well, there is the man who now makes his trade in the Georgian top flight in Europe. He's one of the top young talents at Comunicaciones for making the move to Dinamo Tbilisi recently. He's been a regular on the right flank in the 2024 season with Tbilisi. Here's the long throw. Galindo. Morales. Charged away. Guatemala keeping Martinique pinned deep in their own half. Fabian has been a silver lining for Martinique in the opening 20 minutes. But so far, Rubio Rubin's 3rd-minute strike making the difference. Santis, another low cross. Charged away by the 33-year-old Manduki. Another cross in. Morales. Cardoza. Overlap. Morales' cross. Back post! Clemente at full extension makes the stop. An excellent chance from Galindo. It is unyielding at this point from Guatemala. Excellent interplay. You see Morales just dink the cross. Galindo gets his head on it, and it was certainly on target. Warranted an excellent stop in the end from Clementia, who has kept Les Matinino in this match at the moment. It has the sense it's only a matter of time before Guatemala break through again. Herrera's cross, it's a good one. Just altered enough. For Guatemala, it's been an incredible turnaround. A national team that frankly struggled in the late 2010s, dealt with the after effects of a 2-year corruption ban as Ruben's effort rolls out of play. And due to that ban, they missed out on the initial Nations League qualifiers in 2018-19. And as a result, they were forced to begin in Group C. Now, they were promoted relatively quickly from League C to League B in the inaugural season of Nations League competition. But it is the architect, Luis Fernando Tena, who has taken this side in particular to new heights since taking the helm of the club in 2021, earning them the promotion to League A in 22-23 and guiding them to the Gold Cup quarterfinals later that summer as well. A monumental step forward for a team that had not done that in 12 years' time prior to that. He has this Guatemala side playing with a new degree of swagger and attacking prowess. Here's the cross. Fabian flicks it along. Charged away towards Ruben. It's one back though by Martinique. Dussault. That won't quite trouble Hagen. It's been a matter of half chances so far for Le Martinino. Not a bad idea from Dussault. Would have needed a slightly better final product though. Galindo, the Municipal man at 32 years of age, linking well with Herrera. That cross won't live on the highlight reel. He's had a number of good ones tonight. Fortunately for him, that was not one of those. "25 minutes gone from the capital city of Guatemala at the Estadio Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores. A venue that is just shy of 80 years old and still the top venue in Guatemalan football. A packed crowd tonight. It has made for a raucous environment, and they've been treated already to some terrific early action from Los Chapines. Dussault. This is Renel. Clever link up here. Renel. Weaving through trouble. It's an excellent ball wide. And Patrick Berner would have hoped to field it better. For Martinique, a very unique situation. A French island territory that houses just under 350,000 people. And all of its citizens are eligible to represent the French national team. So it makes selection difficult, as the top talents in the country likely opt to play for France, although that is not necessarily always the case. Marc Collat has done a sensational job with the personnel he's had at his disposal. Also taking the job in 2021 and guiding them into Group A of the Nations League during qualifying. It is arguably its best period of footballing history since it made the Gold Cup quarterfinals in 2002. Now, the Gold Cup in 2023 went anything but according to plan, but they did earn their 5th ever win in that competition. And last year, earning 2 wins and a draw out of 4 matches did the trick to help them stay up comfortably in League A of the Nations League. It's a team that does not score many goals, managed just 2 goals in that Nations League campaign a season ago. But it is a team that has managed to remain defensively sound against some of its regional peers. Issue tonight is parking the bus is effectively out the window at this stage. They must chase to secure results. Hagen forward to LeBeau, who's clattered down on the edge of the area. And a free kick in a very inviting position for Martinique. Yellow shown in the process, it appears to be to Jonathan Franco. The first booking of the night for either side. You get another look here. Herrera, the actual culprit. Perhaps a slightly cynical tackle. Shoulder to shoulder. Knows exactly what he's doing to prevent the oncoming surge of the forward. And this is well within the range of many of Martinique's creative talents. Fabien and Renel in the immediate vicinity. Renel tries from afar, and it was not a bad effort. Just didn't quite tip in time. There are semblances of threat going forward for Martinique. That just didn't quite have the up and down motion required. We rapidly approach the half-hour mark from the capital city of Guatemala tonight. A packed stadium in the capital city. Still 1-0, courtesy of Rubio Rubin's third-minute strike. Martinique has shown flashes of attacking threat the other direction, but it's been a match largely bossed by Los Chapines, and for neutrals, that's an unsurprising scenario. A side that would have been favored coming in, no doubt, especially given Martinique's history of struggles on the road. This is Jose Morales. The cross is deflected out of danger. And a loose challenge, a late one at that from Morales. Balance is prone on the pitch. Both seem to have come off on the brutal end of it. It's a 50-50 challenge here. And Morales slicing his boot into the studs of Balance. Incidental, but one that will leave a mark tomorrow for both men. Fabien weaving ahead. Renel. LeBeau tries one. It was dipping, and mercifully beyond the far post at that. The counter beginning to pay dividends for Martinique. Another foray forward for Guatemala. Santis, Herrera. Santis crosses to the back post. And the initial effort scuffed by Castellanos. May have prevented that from developing into a legitimate threat. It has been a busy opening half hour for that man, Yanis Clementia. A man who kept a clean sheet in the last 3 Nations League matches of last season after Martinique was frankly drubbed in their opener 3-0 at Guatemala. Still managed to stay up and comfortably a season ago in the Nations League. Santis to take this corner. Flicked along. It's loose. Galindo, Morales had a touch and somehow cleared out of trouble. A rapid scramble around the goal mouth. Guatemala, for the time being, unable to secure a second. And the chance finally lost. They've continued to twist the screws. This was a glaring opportunity. See the initial effort from Galindo denied, and Morales just can't get his feet on top of it. A required intervention by the Martinique center backs, Pulolo and Balance. It's a loose ball from Morales. Fabian with space to run into. Already has flashed plenty of dynamism tonight, but overhits that ball for Brighton LeBeau. Promising counter, stalling at the source. Well, you have to wonder what's in the minds of the Martinique coaching staff at the minute. A team known for its obdurate defense against Concacaf peers. It was breached inside 3 minutes. And despite stout defending out of possession since, very little legitimate threat towards Nicholas Hagen's goal just yet. Galindo chipping it forward. Santis. Herrera with room to cross. Progressive ball. Ruben rockets it off the side netting. Continuing to threaten though. Oh boy, are they glad to have him in the side. He missed the friendly with Uruguay on Sunday, a 1-1 draw. A monumental result for Guatemala, due to finishing up his duties with Querétaro and Liga MX. And now the international break has hit for effectively every league in the world, and as such, able to join Los Chapines well before the Nations League opener. Morales, a lovely flick on header. Artoza was running onto it, and it was a required adjustment from Joris Moutache. Another corner for Guatemala. They are starting to mount. It's become target practice for Santis and company. Himself and Cardoza in the immediate vicinity. In swinger from Santis. Rushing ahead. Not a bad effort at all from Santis, just knuckling wide. There is clear hunger for a second. And Oscar Santis beginning to make his impact felt. That was not far off by any means. And perhaps if it doesn't knuckle in the manner it does, that sneaks into the far corner. Galindo linking well with Ruben. Sprayed out of danger for the time being. Cardoza is dropped to the deck. This is a very enticing free kick position for Guatemala. Kevin Apan, the culprit. You see Galindo beginning to work his way into the match. It's a side swipe, if that. But it's enough contact to garner Jose Torres' attention. Allows Santis more service from a very decent position here. Chipped into the heart of the area and may have whipped a bit too much beyond the heads of Los Chapines. It's run loose here. Space going forward, Martinique on the counter, and Burner just ran out of real estate. A much needed last ditch tackle to make the difference. Just when you least expect it, there are these rapid breaks from Martinique. The wingers especially, Fabian and Burner, causing trouble, and Brighton LeBeau's always been in dangerous spots. And the longer this remains 1-0, you get the sense that perhaps Guatemala may start to tighten up. Already some frustration around the goal mouth as they've unsuccessfully tried to double the lead on a number of occasions. Cardoza. And the return ball slightly overcooked. We rapidly approach the business end of this first half. Guatemala still pushing on as that ball for Ruben falling narrowly outside his reach. There have been moments for Martinique. This is by far a defined script by any means. But it is one where Guatemala's had the upper hand. This is Kevin Apan. Lobo is unable to field it. It's cleared only as far as Mutashi. Manduki. Fabian. This is Dussault, still looking for his next destination professionally, despite a bevy of high-quality experience in mainland France. It is a unique blend for this Martinique side. On the other side, Luis Fernando Tena has constructed a team that primarily consists of the stars of the Liga Nacional in Guatemala. There are exceptions, of course, but overall he prefers domestic talent to those making their trade overseas. And it's worked out for him. We've discussed the turnarounds. Guatemala making its first Gold Cup quarterfinal in 12 years last summer, and narrowly falling to Jamaica in the quarterfinals. It has been a tough out in Concacaf competition under his tutelage, despite a stop-start Nations League campaign a season ago. This is one back. Cardoza in space. Laying it off, Ruben. Falls to Santis, toward Cardoza. Unable to get his foot around it. It had to be a pinpoint accurate cross, and that it was not. For Martinique, we have mentioned the unique blend of players, many of whom play in the domestic league of Martinique, the Martinique Championnat National. But it's also a blend of many Liga and Ligue 2 players who are stars. Here's the ball forward. Berner goes down in the area, and the referee immediately blowing a halt to this. A heavy collision between Berner and Herrera. And as things stand, the question is which way the referee points. If it's in the area, it would surely be a point to the spot. You see Berner go down, and he actually may have been the one to clatter into Herrera. And that may save Guatemala from a penalty. And that, it appears, it was the case. Not much Herrera could do to vacate the vicinity. And as such, the whistle sounds against Martinique. 1 minute of stoppage time, according to the fourth official, Ismael Cornejo, tonight. A first half in which Guatemala has bossed, but there have been moments of magic for Martinique on the break. Tashi clears unconvincingly. Here's the cross. Cleared only as far as Morales. Clattering it off the legs of Apan. Fabien. Perhaps one final foray forward. Galindo. This is Ruben. Rubio Ruben! Clemencia denying it, and the flag was up anyways. And that is where we leave things after 45 minutes. A first half that featured a rapid strike for Guatemala. It's Rubio Ruben's third-minute opener, which makes the difference. But Guatemala unable to tack on a second despite its most valiant of efforts. Martinique had its moments, but a side that was on the back foot and struggled for any semblance of positive possession. But as things stand, it is just a goal to separate the two teams at the moment. Martinique well and truly in the match, despite being on the back foot for the lion's share of that first half. Well, a first ever Nations League battle between Guatemala and Martinique, and the hosts on the front foot after 45 minutes. We will step aside briefly when we return. Some first half stats and highlights. We welcome you back into the Estadio Doroteo Guamuch, Flores, in the capital city of Guatemala, Guatemala City, where it's 1-0 as we get set for the start of the second half. Los Chapines leading Le Matinino in this Nations League Ligue A Group A opener. The first meeting in the competition between these two sides. Of course, Guatemala dealing with the after effects of a 2-year corruption ban, which cost them an opportunity to qualify for League A back in 2019. And as a result, they were forced to begin their Nations League stay in League C. It was successive promotions that earned them a spot in League A ahead of last year's campaign and managed to stay up by the skin of their teeth. It's that man who has engineered the turnaround for this Guatemalan side, Luis Fernando Tena, the manager since 2021, guiding Guatemala to the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup last summer and keeping them afloat in the Nations League a year ago. And when you factor in Guatemala's struggles before his appointment, a side that was bounced in the first round of 2022 World Cup qualifying and was bounced in the group stage of the 2021 Gold Cup, he has provided new life for Los Chapines. Meanwhile, Marc Cola, a man with Martinique that has established himself as one of the better coaches in the Caribbean. He has also been the manager since 2021. Back underway, according to Jose Torres, from the capital city of Guatemala. The fireworks in full force in what has been a terrific atmosphere tonight for the home side in their Nations League opener. Rubio Rubin's third-minute strike is what currently makes the difference between these two squads. It was a first half where Guatemala was frankly on top for the majority of it. Had 60% of the ball, frankly could have had 2 or 3 goals, but were unable to capitalize on their early bout of momentum, and Martinique showed some semblances of life towards the tail end of that first half. Should make for a very intriguing final 45 minutes here in Group A of League A in the 2024-25 Nations League. And when you look at the schedules for these two sides, for Guatemala in particular, 3 points is crucial because in this Swiss-style tournament system, it's not a round robin, so Guatemala will only play 4 matches, as will Martinique. They will not play 3 of the 6 opponents in this group. They play Costa Rica twice. They've drawn the short end of the straw on multiple occasions, which will make staying up in Group A and in League A very difficult if they drop points tonight, because it's Costa Rica twice. They do get to travel to Guyana on October 11th, which is a fixture they feel should be winnable. But other than that, they likely have the most difficult slate here in Group A. Here's Morales venturing forward. That's stabbed away by Pulolo. And making his 16th cap a mainstay in the Romanian top flight. Meanwhile, when you look at Martinique's slate, it is not the end of the world if they come up empty-handed here for a number of reasons, especially if it ends close, because they play Guadeloupe twice, a side that just got throttled 2-0 by Costa Rica tonight and is not a team tipped to make noise in this group. So, as far as Martinique is concerned, they are playing with house money tonight, and if they get a point tonight, their quarterfinal aspirations become very promising. Here's Mutashi awaiting support for Le Matinino. And ushered wide to the danger man, Carl Fabian. A dangerous cross. One that is charged away into the feet of Alejandro Galindo, one of the elder statesmen of this Guatemalan side. Excellent link up here. And it appeared Castellanos, just ran out of real estate. Breaking quickly is Brighton LeBeau. The talisman laying it off. Fabien's effort deflected out for a corner. Not a bad start for Martinique here. It is Carl Fabien who rushes over to take. A 24-year-old who moved to the Bulgarian top flight this summer after lighting up the lower leagues of France for quite some time. He'll cede this corner to Samuel Renel. Rapidly approaching the 50-minute mark. Martinique starting to twist the screws. The outswinger here. Flicked along, and there's the equalizer. Guatemala City stunned. Kevin Apan has leveled it up. Martinique in dreamland. A side that weathered the storm in the first half, and they've been rewarded for their suffering. Kevin Apan has bagged a stunning equalizer here in Guatemala City. A picture-perfect corner. Apan rising like a salmon and heading it well beyond the reach of Nicholas Hagen, who has no chance rooted to the spot. And just like that, the visitors find themselves level. The 26-year-old native of Marseille, and now nearly finding the go-ahead tally. Renel dragging it wide. Guatemala have been stunned. Apan, a native of Marseille, a man who moved to the Spanish second tier with Burgos a few years back. He's bagged his first international goal at quite the moment. Galindo, Santis down in the area, and coming back to an earlier foul. Get another look at this. Referee was unmoved by the challenge. Shoulder to shoulder. Monduki shoved off a little bit. Ultimately, though, they came back to the earlier foul that sent Santis clattering to the turf. Well, suddenly, Guatemala is being forced into some alterations. Martinique leveling things in the 50th minute. Kevin Apan, the 26-year-old, who is in his 5th consecutive year in Spain. Santi stands over it. An arcing cross. It was spilled briefly by Clementia, but stabbed away confidently. There's now an aura of restlessness in the facility. And Giannis Clementia seems a bit shaken up after the recent challenge. Referee Jose Torres having a talking to with Guatemala's lone goal scorer Rubio Rubin. Likely for this challenge. Didn't appear he made any contact in the end with Clementia. But the Martiniquois goalkeeper is prone on the pitch at the moment. Guatemala makes its first change, as they're forced to chase a winner. It's two swaps. First man exiting is Elmar Cardoza. It is Nathaniel Mendez entering. Meanwhile, Marco Dominguez also entering the fray for Oscar Castellanos. So two like-for-like changes. Cardozo was a relatively pedestrian figure in this match. He's replaced by an experienced veteran of the English game, Nathaniel Mendez Lang, a 32-year-old who has spent the entirety of his 15-year pro career in the top 3 divisions of England and has starred with Derby County the last 3 campaigns, was a massive part of their successful promotion to the EFL Championship a season ago. And someone who also factored in frequently for Cardiff City during the 2018-19 Premier League. So he's played at the highest level in England and only recently changed his citizenship from England to Guatemala. Debuted in the 2023 Gold Cup with Los Chapines and has been a mainstay since. Here's Santis, a flashing cross. Cleared only as far as Dominguez, and the follow-up cross from Santis will not do anything to quell the restless fans. Keep your eye on number 11 in white and blue. Mendez Lang, 2 assists in 4 Gold Cup matches last year. A product of the Wolverhampton Wanderers Academy. One of the more recognizable names that Luis Fernando Tena has to deploy tonight. His side suddenly forced to chase a winner after dominating the entire first half. Kevin Apan's equalizer has thrown a wrench in what seemed to be a routine cruise to 3 points. Ranel. It's one back confidently. And now room for Ruben Arome. A pass just overcooked. Well, if you're just joining us, you have missed an interesting plot twist. Guatemala was soaring in the first half. Opened the scoring 3 minutes in through Rubio Ruben. They dominated the remainder of that 45 minutes. Had a number of, frankly, should-be second and third tallies turned away by the likes of Giannis Clementia and his ironclad back line. And then 5 minutes after the restart, Kevin Apan heading it in at the near post from a corner. And just like that, Martinique in a position to swipe a point away from home. Would be just their second point away from home, dating back to the start of last year in Nations League play. Low driver here, and no real trouble for Nicholas Hagen between the sticks. Carl Fabian continuing to pop up though on that right flank. We see Fabian here, makes the most of a one-on-one chance here. Outwits Morales and couldn't quite put the curl required to test Hagen. There is life for Martinique, especially since the leveler. Manduki. And this is the hero Apan. Santis. There is Jose Ardon, the 24-year-old center back, alongside the experienced Jose Carlos Pinto. And this is Galindo. Clever ball into the path of Ruben, who latches onto the end of it. Darting it across, and it was beyond the reach of Santis. Manduki. Lebeau. Awaiting reinforcements. And still with Brighton Lebeau, unable to surge through the thicket of white jerseys. gotta wonder if tightness or pressure begins to set in for Guatemala. A side that knows it should have had this arguably wrapped up by halftime. Now finds itself in a true knockdown, drag-it-out war. Galindo, Santis. No real trouble for Clementia. Guatemala notoriously good at home in this competition. Unbeaten in 7 matches dating back to the inaugural Nations League season. Is that streak in jeopardy? Santis through on goal. Referee points to the spot. No hesitation. And the yellow shown as well for good measure to Joris Mutashi, who was the culprit. It's a lovely weighted ball here. Mutashi playing catch up. It's a simple shove in the back. That is a textbook penalty. And just like that, Guatemala an opportunity to reclaim the advantage from 12 yards. The 26-year-old Mutashi may have handed Guatemala back control of this at home. Right around the hour mark, a chance to reclaim the lead from the penalty spot. It is the captain, Jose Carlos Pinto, to take. A man with just 1 international goal to his name. The leader at center back. Pinto against Clementia. And Pinto converts. Clinical penalty. Guatemala back in front. There were nerves. Pinto has eased a lot of those. 2-1 Guatemala. Minutes of tension and relief exuding throughout the stadium now. What a penalty this is. Perfect placement, top right corner. And the captain has put Los Chapines back in front. Well struck. And Clementia guessing the right way, but unable to wrap his palms around that. 61 minutes in, Guatemala seizing control again. Hearing word Martinique has made a change. A double change. Enric Rupernay replacing Carl Fabian on the wings. And Patrick Berner vacating for Johnny Marajo. 2 substitutions towards the front line as Martinique looks to infuse their side with attacking talent. Perhaps surprising that Fabian vacates, being the most dangerous Martinique man tonight. But that is the decision Marc Collat has made tonight. So Marajo for Fabian and Berner vacating for Rupernay, whose first touch is an unsuccessful one. Changes on both flanks for Le Matinino. Marajo is an established veteran, a 30-year-old who has spent the bulk of his career in the Martinique top flight, making his 28th international appearance tonight. Guatemala surging ahead. It's an unconvincing clearance. One that falls and is clattered into the legs of a Martiniquois defender by Mendez Lang. Johnny Marajo spending the last 10 seasons with Martiniquois giant Club Franciscain. Meanwhile, Enric Rupernay, also a star in the Martinique Championnat National. Mendez Lang appealing for handball, and he wins that argument. See, he's a towering presence for Guatemala. At 32 years old, still a ton left in the tank for him. See, that just goes right off of the palms of Manduki. Very inviting set piece here for Santis and Herrera. The right wing duo that has wreaked havoc tonight. Santis now the lone man in the vicinity. An established veteran making his 35th cap. Flicked along into the danger area. And it's hoofed northward. One back, Galindo, laying it off. Space to run into now, and it was not a bad effort from Morales. One for the cameras that, but not one to trouble Clemencia. Guatemala negotiating the space on the edge of the area well. See Galindo picking out Ardon. And it came free for Morales. A snapshot that just strolled wide. It was played perfectly into his path, but unable to wrap his foot around it. And moments after scoring the would-be winner, it appears Jose Carlos Pinto is the man down on the pitch. The false alarm, it was Dominguez who went down, and then Pinto also did. So the captain is a little worse for wear after that challenge. Nicolas Samayoa is warming up. Samayoa. And Pinto is a touch slow to get up. That is Samayoa warming up. Just see this challenge one more time. Say coming together between himself and Marajo. It may have just taken a shoulder to the face. Well, he is the spiritual and literal leader on the pitch for Guatemala. And Luis Fernando Tena's side, 31 years of age, has spent the bulk of his career in Liga Nacional, over 450 career appearances in the Guatemalan top flight. Someone who has been a star for Comunicaciones in the heart of defense. Plays for one of the proudest clubs in Guatemala, a legacy club, one that wins titles for fun. And for the time being, venturing off the pitch. Well, he seems all right to continue. He's commanding a card from the fourth official. Clearly not thrilled by that challenge. For the moment, Guatemala down to 10 men. Galindo. Herrera. A heavy touch to Santis. We've been treated to a fun one as we rapidly approach the 70-minute threshold tonight. Guatemala 2-1 advantage. Lang laying it off to Santis. attack that ultimately goes out with a whimper. Well, here's the man who changed the match against Uruguay on Sunday. Pedro Altan seems to be getting set to enter. A creative mastermind. Galindo finds Mendez Lang. Laying it off, Ruben! Oh, so close. Curling it a whisker wide. Nearly had a brace to his name. This is terrific interplay. Galindo to the byline, picking out Mendez Lang with perfection. And just lays it off perfectly into the path of Ruben, who misses by a fraction of inches. It will be a like-for-like swap. Hearing word Altan will replace Alejandro Galindo, who has put forth an admirable display. Marajo down in the area. Loud appeals from the Martiniquois players. And the referee has seemingly reached a decision. It's a point to the spot. And just like that, Martinique may have a chance to level this up. It's a ferocious challenge from Pinto, and he does get some of Marajo's legs. A late point, but a point, and a rightful one at that. Not the best challenge from Pinto, and it sets up Brighton LeBeau from 12 yards with another opportunity to equalize. All of the plot twists in this match continue to throw us for a loop. And now the Martiniquois captain, LeBeau, a 28-year-old, who has made his trade at Guingamp in France, with a chance to pull Martinique level once again. It'll be LeBeau against Hagen, the Columbus crewman. The leader up front for Martinique. It's saved by Hagen! A collective Guatemalan rejoice. Not the best of penalties. More intended for placement than power. And Hagen guessed the right direction. Didn't even have to go full extension for it to deny the Martinique leader. A single palm, potentially salvaging all 3 points for Los Chapines. Hagen, a man who earned so much acclaim and adoration during his time with Comunicaciones. Once again, making the difference here in Guatemala. As things stand, Guatemala still in line for a crucial 3 points as they bring Pedro Altan, the Municipal man, in for his Municipal teammate, Alejandro Galindo, a magician that wears the number 10 kit. Morales. Altan, 27 years of age, has been a super sub. Here he is, cuts it across, and claimed by Clementia. Martinique had the golden opportunity to equalize. It appears one more change is waiting. The young Rudy Varane is warming up at the moment. Here's LeBeau, the man denied moments ago. Cleared out of trouble. It will be LeBeau who will vacate. And Rudy Varane, the 20-year-old, will lead the line up front at the next stoppage. Samuel Renel to take this corner. Rapidly approaching the final quarter of an hour from Guatemala City. In swinger. Punched away by Hagen. And falls to Mendez Lang with pace to burn. Trying from afar and may have been caught between two minds. Well, Pedro Altan, no stranger to late goals to seal things. As the whistle sounds against Rupernay. In the Nations League opener against El Salvador a year ago, he put the match to bed in the 78th minute. As you see here, Rupernay sending Morales clattering to the deck. Well, Brighton LeBeau will vacate. Had the golden opportunity to equalize. But as things stand, he will rue that penalty miss for quite some time. The youngster Rudy Varane will replace him. A man who also makes his trade in the Martinique top flight, playing for Club Pelayan. And very young at 20 years old, his first proper international call-up. We have entered the final quarter of an hour here from Guatemala City. As things stand, Guatemala has won the penalty battle, and as a result, they still find themselves in line for the 3 points. Pinto converting in the 61st. LeBeau denied about 10 minutes later. Hagen, the lone goal scorer for Martinique tonight. It's ushered wide to Enric Rupernay. Was looking for his man to continue the run. Hagen. There's still plenty of time for Martinique to make the difference. Played towards the edge of the area. Varane clattered out of play, and the whistle sounding against Martinique regardless. It is Jonathan Franco that finds himself still on the deck. Monduki pleading his case. See Varane try to outwit Franco. It's a 50-50 challenge, and one that leaves the Guatemalan man a little worse for wear. Well, a big task for the youngster. He is tasked with leading the line and entering the book in his Nations League debut. Monduki. This is Marajo. Space to play out now for Guatemala. No real runner to latch on to the end of that. We've gone over the stakes on a number of occasions, but given Guatemala's Nation League fixture list, points in this match are almost crucial. They have 2 dates with Costa Rica on the docket. By far the best team in League A, the best team not to receive the automatic bye to the quarterfinals. And in fact, in years past, they found themselves in the quarters. but Panama has overtaken them in that regard in the Concacaf rankings. And as a result, themselves along with the US, Canada, and Mexico have secured safe passage to the knockouts already. Remember, a successful victory in the quarterfinals secures a berth to the 2025 Gold Cup. Martinique is readying 2 changes. It'll be Lucas Arden who will enter. Varane laying it off. Rupernay awaiting options. Varane again. Stab clear. And Ruben is brought to the deck. It will be Arden replacing Dussault. And Tariq Cavalan is set to replace Samuel Renel. Those 2 changes occurring now. So there is Renel. A strong performance as a deep line playmaker tonight. Meanwhile, the right back Dussault making way for the younger Arden. Ruben. Mendez Lang. Well, Lucas Arden, 23 years of age, has spent his career in Martinique's Championnat National. And Tariq Cavalan also playing in Martinique's top flight at just 22 years of age. It's just his 7th international cap. Do any of the youngsters have magic in their locker tonight? Into the final 10 minutes of the 90. Still all to play for both sides in Guatemala City. Given the way it started, sheer Guatemalan dominance, you wouldn't have expected the drama that has ensued across these 80 minutes and change. But we have been treated to a fantastic opener here in Nations League, League A. Mutashi. Issues playing out for Martinique. It'll fall to the boots of Dominguez. If you're Guatemala, you would be best served to hunt and procure a dagger, especially given Martinique's flair for the dramatic equalizer. We've seen it once, and we nearly saw it a second time, if not for the heroics of Nicolas Hagen, the Columbus crewman who anchored the crew back line in their Leagues Cup triumph less than 2 weeks ago. Flag is raised against Ruben. Now Guatemala will make a double change. It is Alan Yanes replacing Oscar Santis. So a terrific performance from him. Meanwhile, Rubio Ruben making way for the Guatemalan top flight goal scoring mastermind. That is Jose Martinez. A successful display for number 9 in white tonight. Bagging the opener in the 3rd minute. Potentially could have had a second on a number of occasions, but still grabbing his goal for Los Chapines tonight. Not a bad replacement for him by any means. Martinez, already 3 international goals, but in the Guatemalan top flight, has crossed the 75 goal threshold. Rupernay, and this is a pan. Manduki. The Yanes substitution is no doubt a defensive one. Yanes, a listed right back, who will be playing the role of right attacking midfielder in this 4-2-3-1. Set piece now on the way for Cavalan. With the way this match has unfolded, set pieces would be the primary candidate to produce a Martinique equalizer. A corner kick procured the first one. It's delivered in from Cavalan and was headed goalward, but fortunately for Guatemala, it was right at Hagen. A great delivery here from Cavalan, and the flick on at least drew Hagen's attention. Very fortunate that didn't skew a different direction. Now Franco prone on the deck. Rapidly approaching the final 5 minutes of the regular 90. And it appears Franco, the Municipal man, may be cramping up. On the other end of things, Mendez Lang, an eventful presence so far, could have supplied Ruben's dagger had he not trickled it just wide. Has proved to be a valuable addition for Guatemala dating back to the start of last year. And the physio still tending to Franco. "21 years of age, has spent his entire professional career with Municipal and has to be helped off here for Los Chapines. For the time being, it appears Guatemala down to 10 men with Franco off the pitch. We will see if they make a late match change here. As things stand, that man in line to be the hero. Nicolas Hagen, the 28-year-old, with a heroic save from 12 yards to deny Martinique's talisman up front in Brighton LeBeau. His last involvement before being replaced by Rudy Varane. Here's Mutashi tussling with Herrera. And an errant pass. Mendez Lang. Won back only briefly by Cavalan. Pinto. One back by Mutashi. Franco is good to continue. A pleasant sight for Guatemalan and Municipal supporters. Marajo. Mutashi. Cross with some dangle to it. Falls for Monduki. And one back by Martinez. Yanis. Losing out to Apan. You'd figure with the way this second half has unfolded, at least 3 minutes of added time are warranted. We will get word in a matter of moments. Apan, the lone goal scorer for Le Matinino tonight. A dangerous ball. Mutashi. Flashing it across. Punched away by Hagen. Yanes threading it through to Martinez, and numbers in support. Guatemala breaking rapidly. Herrera. Mendez Lang. A heavy touch that let him down. Final 90 seconds of the 90. Rupernay. Marajo. Charging ahead. Johnny Marajo! Whistling it wide. And what a chance that was for Martinique. Excellent bit of individual technique by Marajo to get onto his favored right foot. And nearly picked out the far corner. He had Hagen beaten. Unfortunately for him, he just missed that far post. Final minute of the 90. It is all at fourth official Ismael Cornejo's discretion now. Martinez, a loose back heel. Cavalan, Apan, support in the form of Marajo. Dangerous cross, one that is cleared away confidently. Five minutes of added time. The Guatemalan faithful have plenty of time to weather still. A Martinique side that has carved out a number of chances in the late stages, continuing to push on. Rupernay, Apan. Darting to the byline, and the cross will not trouble Hagen. It will become a matter of gamesmanship from here on out for Los Chapines. For Le Matinino, they are in desperate need of late heroics. It had the feeling of a must-acquire 3 points for Guatemala tonight. They are a matter of minutes from completing the marathon. Monduki. Read well by Morales. Cleared only as far as Ardennes. For Martinique, it is a home match against Guyana on September 9th before they take on Guadeloupe twice. We mentioned favorable fixtures given Guadeloupe's struggles in Nations League play in the past. Got outclassed by Costa Rica tonight. It was 2-0, but likely should have been more. Mendez Lang beats his defender and is through. Mendez Lang just outside the reach of Martinez. A promising counter goes begging for Los Chapines. Mutashi switching the play with aplomb. Rupernay darting inside. It's still Rupernay, and it may have taken a deflection in the process. The linesman says it did. Some set pieces to weather for Guatemala. Cavalan standing over it. Is there one final bit of set piece magic for Martinique? Barely beating the first defender that time. Cavalan, enticing cross. One that falls for Balance. Apan. Low driver from Balance, and one that is into the waiting arms of Hagen. Final 90 seconds of added time. And that man, Jose Torres, will become the most watched man in the venue in a matter of minutes. Guatemala is so nearly there. Martinez through on goal. There's the dagger. Guatemala has sealed the points. Jose Martinez providing the final blow. In stoppage time, Los Chapines have wrapped up a deserved victory tonight. A night with frustration and adversity, but one in which Guatemala has overcome with flying colors. Martinez playing on the back shoulder of the last defender, appeals for offside, but doing just enough to thread it between the legs of Yanis Clementia, and sealing it all in the final minute of stoppage time. A man with a reputation of clinical finishing at the club level, providing a clinical finish for his country tonight. Guatemala 3, Martinique 1. A man who was out of the Guatemalan squad for a year and a half, wrapping up all of the points in his first Nations League appearance of the year. The final whistle has sounded. Guatemala securing all 3 points despite facing second half adversity from a very game Martinique side tonight. Luis Fernando Tena's side starts Nations League play in perfect fashion. 3 points at home before a difficult Costa Rican test presents itself. Martinique had its moments and threatened to level it late, but in the end, Nicolas Hagen saving a Brighton LeBeau penalty, and Jose Martinez providing the late dagger tonight. A strong performance from Guatemala, one in which they come away with all of the points. A game display from Martinique, one in which they can take positives for their match with Guyana. That man will be relieved given the struggles his side encountered in the second half, but a more than capable performance in the final 30 minutes making the difference. Jose Carlos Pinto winning it from the spot, Martinez ending it in the final minute of stoppage time. What a match we had to open Nations League play. Peak Concacaf here tonight, and Guatemala the favorites, securing all of the spoils here at home. From the Estadio Doroteo, Guamuch, Flores, it finishes Guatemala 3, Martinique 1. We will step aside for some interviews with key players when we return a look at the 90 minutes that just transpired.
1-1.
Que sabe jugar bien al fútbol. Estamos en un grupo muy fuerte, pero gracias a Dios hoy nos supimos sobreponer a eso. El equipo mostró personalidad, fuimos contundentes cuando tuvimos que hacerlo y cuando tuvimos que defenderlo lo hicimos de una gran forma.
¿Qué se complicó tanto el partido?
Porque Martinique también es un rival fuerte, como lo vimos ante rivales de la zona que ganaron. Sabíamos de que iba a ser difícil y que han avanzado mucho en el plano futbolístico y hoy no fue la excepción, hoy vinieron y complicaron, pero bueno, gracias a Dios, aún así supimos ganar y supimos ser mejores que ellos.
Fortuna para Guatemala, un 3-1 y se tienen más 2 en el gol average.
Sí, sin importar el resultado, sabíamos que aquí teníamos que ganar, cueste lo que cueste, y hoy gracias a Dios supimos ganar bien.
Gracias, José.
Dale, gracias a ustedes.